Code White. 5 a.m., Millers Creek Community Hospital. Hour 5. Nurse Dana Keller tightened the drawstring on her scrubs and let the automatic door slide shut behind her. The ER was too quiet for a Monday. That was her first thought. Her second, she hadn't heard any birds. The clock above the admissions window clicked to 5 a.m. Dana moved through the empty triage area with her coffee clutched between chilled hands, sneakers squeaking faintly against the polished floor. The early shift usually meant a couple of flu cases, one local drunk sleeping off a fight, and maybe a high school football injury left until morning. Not today. At first glance, the hospital seemed as still as the town itself, like everyone was holding their breath. Then she reached the nurse's station. Tina looked up from the monitors, eyes wide and bloodshot behind smudged lenses. "You heard anything on the scanner?" Dana blinked. "No. I just got here." "What's going on?" Tina motioned to the room behind her. Two deputies brought someone in around 4. Guy was bleeding bad, but wouldn't stay down. Bit one of them. Bit him. Took a chunk out of his forearm. Dana's stomach twisted. Jesus. He kept moving even after sedatives. Like he wasn't feeling pain at all. We had to sedate him twice, and even then he just kept twitching. Dr. Weaver's with him now. That was when Dana heard it, the muffled banging. Not far off. Rhythmic. Desperate. Room 3. She moved toward the door, but Tina stopped her. "Don't," she said. "It's worse than you think." Dana hesitated, then stepped back. "Has anyone called county?" Lines are jammed. And the radios, full of static or screaming. Some EMTs never made it back from drop-offs in Columbus. The buzzing overhead light flickered. Dana turned to log into the system, her fingers trembling slightly on the keys. Her shift hadn't even officially started, and her gut was already screaming that something was wrong, deeply, horribly wrong. She heard a voice behind her, Weaver's. "Dana, come here. I need you." She followed the doctor down the hall to the isolation area. The patient, a man in his 40s, lay strapped to the gurney, his skin pale and blood-slick, chest rising in quick, shallow breaths. His shirt had been cut away, revealing claw marks across his torso, and his mouth was gagged with medical gauze wrapped in surgical tape. Weaver looked shaken. He coded 10 minutes ago. No pulse. No breath sounds. Eyes were fixed and dilated. Then, the man on the gurney thrashed violently. Dana jumped, heart hammering. "That's not possible." "I know." Weaver's voice cracked. "It's not just him. We had another come in, woman from a trailer park off Route 42. She was DOA. Covered in bite wounds. Her husband swore she attacked their daughter. Then she sat up in the morgue." Dana's mind reeled. She stepped out to catch her breath, then grabbed her phone. She didn't call anyone, no one would answer at this hour. Instead, she opened a group text to her sister, who lived 2 towns over. "Something bad is happening. People are coming in acting like animals. They don't respond to sedatives. We lost one and he got up. Please stay inside. Lock your doors. I'm serious." She didn't send it. Not yet. Dana tucked her phone into her scrub pocket and pressed her back against the cool tile wall outside the trauma bay. Her breath came short and tight, like her lungs had forgotten how to expand fully. The fluorescent lights above her head buzzed with a soft, unnerving rhythm. Tina returned to the nurse's station with a stack of printed charts and a disposable coffee cup that sloshed with each step. Her hands were shaking. Security called down. "There's a guy out front slamming his fists on the glass doors." Dana rubbed at her temple. "What the hell is going on tonight?" Tina leaned closer, voice low. "We got another one." "Walk in." Said he found a guy chewing on someone's arm in an alley behind the quick stop. Did he call the cops? He was a cop. Tina looked pale. Said he emptied a mag into the guy and he still got up. He was bleeding from the mouth and just kept coming. Dana didn't reply. She couldn't. Her brain kept rejecting the pieces as they came together. People don't survive a full cardiac arrest and then move. People don't keep walking after being shot in the chest. This was beyond anything she'd trained for, and she'd done trauma work overseas. Down the hall, the banging started again. Louder this time. Faster. The sound of gurney restraints snapping against metal. Dr. Weaver reappeared, jaw clenched. He coded again. Actually coded. No response. No heartbeat. Then he sat bolt upright. I had to physically hold him down. We restrained his legs and doubled the sedatives. It's not doing anything. Dana followed him back into room 3, stomach coiled like a fist. The man was slick with sweat, skin gray now, his chest rising and falling in erratic gasps. His eyes were wide open, not dazed or sedated, but fixed. Staring at the ceiling like he saw something waiting for him there. Or beyond it. I don't think this is a drug reaction, Weaver whispered. It's systemic. It's like a complete override of the nervous system. Autonomic spikes. No higher function. Like he's on some sort of autopilot. Dana looked down. The man's wrists were raw against the restraint straps. Weaver leaned in, listening to his heartbeat again. Nothing. Not a sound. And then, the patient's head turned sharply toward Weaver. Fast. So fast. His mouth opened wide and clamped down on Weaver's ear with a sickening crunch. Weaver screamed, a horrible, animal cry, and Dana lunged forward, pulling at the man's arms as Weaver staggered back, blood pouring down his collar. Help! Dana screamed. We need help in here. Tina burst into the room seconds later with an orderly, Luis, at her heels. Together they pried the man back, dragging him down against the gurney. Blood stained the gauze on his mouth. His teeth had torn through the doctor's ear and left ragged grooves in the side of his face. Weaver was clutching the wall, panting, his lab coat stained crimson. Sedate him again, he gasped. Strap him down. Dana injected another dose, twice the recommended amount. His pulse was non-existent. His pupils didn't react. But he still moved. He snarled against the gag. Luis held him by the shoulders and Tina refastened the wrist restraints, looping them tighter around the side rails. Dana pressed gauze to Weaver's wound. We need to get him to an operating room, she said. You're losing too much blood. No, Weaver pushed her away, jaw tight. You need to call the CDC. Or Homeland. This isn't an isolated case. This is something else. Something spreading. Dana hesitated. You think this is contagious? I don't know. He turned away, shaky on his feet. But I know we're not ready for what comes next. A scream echoed down the hall. Sharp. Raw. Not the kind you hear from a fall or a seizure. It was the scream of someone seeing something they weren't ready for. Luis ran out first. Dana followed, heart pounding. They reached the ER entrance, just in time to see the automatic doors shatter inward. A man stumbled through the broken glass, shirt shredded, face painted in blood. His eyes were vacant, locked straight ahead. Behind him came another, and another, staggering like drunks but with purpose. Security was gone. The desk unmanned. Dana realized with horror that the front guard, Ted, had been on break when she arrived. One of the newcomers lunged at a patient sitting in the waiting room. An elderly man. Too slow to get up. Dana saw it happen in fragments, the fall, the impact, the sickening sound of teeth on flesh. The smell hit a second later, blood, bile, rot. Tina screamed. Luis dragged a stretcher between the hallway and the waiting room. We have to lock it down. Get everyone out of the ER. Dana turned and sprinted back down the hall, yelling to Weaver. We've got multiple incoming. Violent, unstable. One of them just bit someone out front. Weaver was sitting against the wall now, hand pressed to the side of his face. Blood still seeping through his fingers. Seal the double doors. Lock them down. Anyone not bit gets out. Now. Dana tapped her phone screen with shaking fingers. She opened her sister's text thread again. I'm not kidding. Please lock your doors. I don't know what's going on, but it's bad. This time, she hit send. And then she opened a new message. She didn't know what to say, not really. But the voice on the radio, that calm, measured voice from the station in town, had asked if anyone had information. Dana took a deep breath and typed. This is Dana. I work at Millers Creek Hospital. We've had 6 patients in the last 2 hours with bite wounds. They don't respond to sedatives. One got up after coding. They don't die. At least not the normal way. We're under lockdown now. Please, if anyone's out there, stay away from the hospital. She pressed send. And then all hell broke loose. Dana slammed the rooftop access door shut and threw the bolt. It wouldn't hold for long. She staggered backward, heart thundering in her chest, eyes wide as sirens echoed faintly in the distance. The metal handle rattled once. Then again. And then silence. The air outside was sharp with dew and diesel. From the hospital roof, Dana had an unbroken view of Millers Creek as it slowly unraveled under the dawn's first sickly orange light. The town looked deceptively calm, the way it did before a storm rolled in. Quiet streets. Empty lots. But beneath that hush was motion. Movement. Shadows. She could see them. People, or things that had been people, stumbling along sidewalks, limping through parking lots, drawn to motion like moths to a flame. A car alarm wailed 2 blocks over. One of them turned toward the sound and shambled forward, joined by another. Then another. Dana crouched behind the rooftop's HVAC unit, wiping blood off her hands with a disposable mask from her pocket. Her scrubs were soaked at the cuffs, from what, she wasn't sure anymore. She'd lost Tina somewhere in the stairwell. Luis was gone. Weaver had locked the operating room doors behind him and refused to open them again. They'd all been yelling. Then screaming. Then, nothing. Now she was alone, crouched on a rooftop with her back pressed to a rusting air vent and the hospital below swarming with the dead. The wound on her forearm throbbed. It wasn't a bite, not exactly, more like a deep scrape from the fall she'd taken trying to escape a broken gurney. But it burned like it was infected. Already hot to the touch. She peeled back her sleeve and examined it. Red. Swollen. The edges had begun to purple. It hadn't been more than 20 minutes. Dana closed her eyes. She had always thought she'd die from something ordinary, a car crash, or breast cancer like her mother. Something human. Something you could name. This didn't have a name. Not yet. Just symptoms. Just fear. She reached for her phone and checked the signal. 2 bars. LTE. The message she'd sent to the radio station still showed as delivered. A part of her wanted to call her sister. Just to hear her voice. Just to say something. But what could she say? There was a sharp clang from the access door. Dana froze. Then another, louder. Rhythmic now. Something was trying to open it. She pulled herself upright, teeth clenched against the ache in her shoulder, and backed toward the far corner of the roof. The wind tugged at her sleeves. In the east, the sky was lightening into a dull, bruised pink. The rooftop gravel crunched under her shoes. She scanned the edge for a way down, a fire escape, a ladder, anything. But there was nothing but a sheer drop to the ambulance bay below. And the ambulance? It was still running. Doors open. No one inside. Someone had tried to leave. They hadn't made it. Below, a woman in a blood-stained nightgown was dragging herself across the asphalt, fingers twitching like she was still trying to crawl toward help. She made a sound, a low, keening moan, that echoed through the alley like a wounded animal. Dana turned away. She opened her phone again and clicked into the station's message thread. The DJ, whoever they were, hadn't replied. But someone had read it. She could see the icon. She took a breath and began typing again. Update, they've breached the ER. We're overrun. I'm on the hospital roof, Dana Keller, RN. If anyone hears this, stay away. Don't come to the hospital. We can't help you anymore. She stared at the message. Then added one more line. They don't feel pain. They don't stop. And I think I might be next. She hovered her thumb over the send button, and froze. Footsteps. Heavy ones. The door hadn't opened, but she could hear it, slow, dragging steps on the other side of the steel, pacing back and forth. The handle rattled again. A long groan scraped across the threshold. Dana hit send. The message vanished into the cloud. She slid down the wall to the rooftop gravel, knees tucked to her chest, watching the sky grow brighter, not with hope, but with cruel, uncaring morning light. In the distance, a siren wailed and then abruptly cut off. A transformer popped near the water tower. And then, for the first time since 5 a.m., she heard birds. Just one or two. Chirping, cautious. Somewhere out in the trees beyond town. Dana laughed softly, a bitter sound in her throat. Too late, she whispered. You waited too long. Then she closed her eyes and listened to the wind, to the rattling door, and the dying town below.